Oh, it's on there.
It is?
Well, it said live from, look.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So why don't we do this? So we do.
So it's, okay, so we go live, then we hit publish, and then that's how we get it to go up?
Yeah, so. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in the YouTube thing too. So I'm gonna do a post. Alright, so you can go ahead and
Come on.
you come out of it. Just make sure you just do that thing at the bottom right. Hit that little bottom right, all the way far right.
This one?
Yeah. Hit the round thing,
Okay.
and disconnect. So yeah, so okay. So now when we do this, you can when we do it, when we do this, so I'm gonna put a thing say YouTube too. So they can look on YouTube. That'll be what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm trying to get you there for a minute now.
Oh, now this is what he takes over.
Executive producer. That's EP.
That's why you gotta bring your excellence. That's what
That's right. That's what
bring your excellence right on there.
I'm trying to get you to get there, man.
Hey, take two of these for yourself, but put these out here. Put that on this table out there.
Table out where?
You know what? We should put some. I was gonna say put some out there on that table and then put some right there. Or I don't know if they maybe out there is better. That's probably where they go. See what that desk right there? In the other slides out there?
Right.
Is it?
And where you want the rest of these again?
How many of those is it?
I just like half of them out there.
You can put two on each one. Like some on each one, yeah. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna promote our own jump.
Yeah, push that jump, son. Get your grind on, get your grind on.
So that's how we do it.
That's how we do it, son.
Yeah, that's how we go, Joe. That's how we
roll, son. That's how we do that, son.
I got one being made. That joint be hot because you on that joint. That's the one when you on there like don't tell me nothing.
You said one there, you got what?
You on there? I got one being made where you on there like. It's one with you on there.
For real.
Yeah, John, he just left us hanging. He ain't said one iota. I said, okay, nigga. This how we going?
Well, maybe, I mean, you gotta look at it like, okay, so he told me, my time was done. So I guess he was moving on to the next thing. I guess. At least I hope ain't no hard feelings. That's what I'm saying.
I was just saying, they ain't no hard feelings at all.
That wouldn't necessarily be cool.
Cause that just lets me know where your intentions are.
Yeah, where you really are. So.
What I said the topic was tonight, he does everything well.
Except me, something like that. Oh, you must have just posted stuff. Okay, maybe I don't need to be on.
Yeah, you need to get on there too, man.
I don't need to be on Facebook.
Tired of all this, man. You see the ones I posted? I posted some of the show.
Yeah, you posted some of the stuff from the show, from the panel yesterday. I'm going to go through that tonight. See what you're talking about. Now, what you think you're doing?
What she talking about? Oh, she's working out.
Oh, she's working out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Girl, please.
Give her some kind of make her feel good. I put a comment on that too, make her feel good. You can make a joke, be like this. You should joke or be like, yeah, I don't see you. You don't say. You can say something like, joker and be like, yeah, cause you ain't you don't be so you can be like, so this is what you do. You ain't at the station, huh? You know, make a joke with her or whatever.
Be like, so what are you doing now? What is you doing? What is that? like she doing nothing.
Yeah, because she was looking all stupid. The thing, well, I'm like, really, you with somebody got somebody to record you.
You look too pretty to be dang on doing
Yeah,
something now, girl.
right.
You ain't even bringing a sweat.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna say something, but I can't. I gotta think of it. I gotta think of it right now. What the hell?
What's wrong?
What is going on?
Oh, I know. I don't know what. That's what she said. I was like, what in the world?
What in the world is going on? I don't even want to know. That's again another reason why I'm not on Facebook.
What's wrong? You texted something down there?
Not yet.
Oh.
Just literally they're on who they want you to be friends with. I didn't know Prince was on this joint. I thought Prince was gone.
I know him. He's silly. He's my friend. He's silly.
What is going on?
He's the son of the lady I said used to be on there saying, "Oh, Charlie, you go get saved." New lady, that's her son.
Oh, that's her son.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I wonder who's connected to you that got him on there. That's kind of something.
I don't know. Myron got a new outfit on. Let me leave at my brother-in-law. I'm not gonna let me not do that.
I saw him.
You saw him this with the outfit. I was like, what in the world is he on? Okay, so sharing this video was easy for me, but I decided that it's not for me to take on my life. And I adopted a healthy lifestyle. I had gained weight from eating pretty much whatever I wanted and doing minimal exercise because I didn't look big on the outside. I think everything must be okay. No, that's too much rage, man. I can't read all this. That is that eating all that crap and nothing. So I only feature cosmetic serious psychology. Yeah, you know. That's what I work on regular problem as you get older. And after they took my BMI, I knew that I had to take immediate action. I cut off soda and drastically cut down my sugar intake. I'm eating more protein, vegetables, and meeting with my trainer. Prior days of weeks. Doubting your own personal fitness journey isn't easy, but if I can do it, you can do it. 10 minutes of I am each one of them. Let's see how long she gonna stick with it.
What happened?
No, I'm just gonna see how long now they gonna stick with this working out thing.
Yeah, I think she's gonna stick with it for a while because it supports her vanity movement. So
Oh,
she's
right.
gonna do that.
Okay.
Because anything, because see, right now she feels like she has a cute face, but she knows that physically she got some things she can probably work on losing.
Yeah.
So she wants to not feel that that kind of embarrassed look. So she's gonna go ahead and push the envelope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. There's more power to you. You know.
That's what I'm doing.
More power to you.
Keep my jump tight, so I can be like, so they're gonna be looking at me like, oh.
Is that Adam girl? Oh my God. Who is he with?
So good. Oh my God. So milk chocolate. Oh my God. Yeah, so milk chocolate. So these dudes that was on the panel with you, what were they? I mean, where they come
Some of them, one of them was a lawyer, a life coach. One of them was an artist, R&B singer. Other dudes was just, one guy said he writes speeches.
Oh,
and the other guy, they were pretty intellectual guys.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't think nobody was blue collar that I know of.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So we didn't have no Derek Haynes up there, John.
Cool. Hey Derek, you talking about you on the night, yo?
We ain't had no Derek Haynes up in that John. That dude is off his chain, son.
So on in 30 minutes, Unique Perspective, Love Talk Radio.
Did you just share something?
Tonight, I'm going to post in a minute. Tonight's topic, he does everything well except me. Let's discuss the plight of a good man with bad sex, and also the accommodating woman that shows up everywhere except where it counts, the bedroom. So tune in and let's take it there. I said, so tune in and let's take it there, but in a clean manner.
Right.
And I said, for those that are who aren't. What should I say? How should I sound? Those that aren't or those who aren't?
Those who, what did I say it again?
So how should I word this? For those that aren't or those who aren't on Facebook?
Yeah, for those who aren't on Facebook.
How should I word it? For those who aren't or for those that aren't, that are not on Facebook? Who aren't on Facebook? Who aren't, okay. Yeah. You can download the UBM Chicago app from your phone and simply click listen under my show.
And don't forget about the YouTube thing too.
Or you can catch us on YouTube here, blah blah blah, or here, here, on Facebook here, or on the Unique Perspectives Real Talk page. Okay.
So I just kind of went in the store with some dang on heels on.
That was so funny. I'm like, what is this nigga doing?
What in the world? I can't even conceive of it. I can't even, my mind is like.
What you should do is you should send what I'm, send out what I am,
What, share?
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you send it. Okay, you doing that daggone, that's not how you're supposed to do that.
Who?
Look at this video of Natalie. She's doing this bar, but
she's not doing something right.
She's not doing it right. That's not how you do it. I guess it depends on what she's trying to show her to do, but that's okay. Well,
Somebody gotta tell her something.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, Adam, I'm fine. Like, okay.
Okay.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. Can't tell you nothing. I guess she just started out, I suppose.
Say what now?
I guess maybe it's because she just.
Well, some man telling her somehow. I think she got a man trainer. He just showing her whatever. Oh.
I guess we'll see how far. I mean, it's all about your commitment level.
Correct.
Don't quit.
Yeah,
Not
that's it.
saying it.
You ain't lying about
Not
that.
saying it, man. You just did that.
Hmm? Oh, you just shared the photo.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, it got your still from the YouTube up there. It's just, see that right there ain't my camera. Look, this is the YouTube doing this.
Oh, that's the YouTube thing?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. I don't know what I do about that.
Why we gotta be the only? They don't want, y'all don't want us. Y'all don't want us to take over. Cause after Joe, it's gonna be, if I take over, it's a wrap. That's gonna be it. This thing gonna go to a whole entire different place.
That's what I'm saying, Joe. I'm trying to take it to a whole different place, son.
Yeah, Joe.
I'm trying to take it to a whole different place.
They're gonna be like, well, but how y'all out? Nah, man, y'all niggas don't care. Y'all don't care.
Yeah, that's you. I don't care.
We gave y'all a chance. Y'all don't care.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Joe. I'm just saying, son.
Well, Adam, what y'all mean? I'm confused though. Are we a team? Nah. We ain't no team now, though.
We ain't never said we ain't never said we ain't no team.
Oh, these y'all niggas get all like that. We ain't never said. Nah, I'm good.
I'm just saying, Joe.
You know, niggas out there. You know, people like, nah, I'm just, I'm good. I ain't got no, I ain't worried about nothing. I'm good. So I be all funny. What about you, Adam? We gonna do this? Nah, we good though. People change it when people
Right.
change stuff that you don't know nothing about.
Right.
I'm good. We good. Like, think we get fired or something? I don't even know what's going on. We good though. We good. That's all I'm saying. We good up in this jump.
So, Rhonda, what I need you to do is I need you to step all the way in. Okay. Now, I promise you, you step all the way in. There will be some benefit to you for it. So, so plainly what I'm saying is, I will be your benefit if you step all the way in. Whenever you want it, however you want it, you just make sure that you just.
Dude. Dude, if you talk like this, they be like this. She be like this. Dude. You talking about something that be funny. I'll be like this. Did you hear what Adam said? Oh my God. Did you hear what he's good? Did you hear what he said? Oh my God.
Because
Did you see him?
as the executive
Who is
producer,
that though? Who is he though? Oh my
as
God.
the executive producer, it is my job to make sure that the core four are getting what they need, specifically you. So, what I'm saying is, you gotta make sure that you come in and you're good. Okay? On the flip side, I'll take care of you. I'll make sure you're good. That's how we gonna do that. That's how we gonna do that. Right. moment you stop acting like that, then that's the moment I'm stuck. So, it's
Dude, that's gonna be hilarious. They'll be like, oh,
Like,
girl,
what?
oh my God, girl.
Still looking at it. Oh my goodness. It's been a minute since it's just been the four of us. I've been thinking about that junk. God
Oh,
dang.
dude.
Dang. Wow. Everybody probably done forgot. It was just the four. Funny. He does everything well except me. Look at what Dad says. I know I keep asking this question over and over again, and we never seem to make any headway on it. But did the radio station ever get back? Did they? I know you said they sent the email.
Did
This was
what?
a while ago about them. I guess rebroadcasting the show and then expanding the show. They never. Wow.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Wow. So I guess it wasn't. I guess it didn't mean nothing then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I mean, not cause see the funny is the lady who actually pushed that and mentioned that she's the one who left. She's the one who left. So I don't know. She's the one who left though.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So she was the one that.
Who was seeing all the stuff, and she was probably pushing things in place. So I don't know who else is either on board or not coherent as to what's happening.
Oh. Okay.
But she was definitely the one who was like, "Yeah, y'all should do this."
Oh wow. Okay.
So we'll see.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that makes that.
Like
Puts a different spin on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if she's not here, then yeah. That's the reason why it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. We got to go through so much. We got to go through so much.
Right. But that's okay. We're gonna take care of ourselves. That's okay. We're gonna get ourselves done. We're gonna get it done.
We got to go through. But you know what we need to do? We need to have like if my son was here, like if the son if he comes in, I'm like, this is gonna be your job. Like you gonna be doing all this stuff.
Okay.
Like make sure we don't have to be doing all this.
Right.
Phones, you do all that stuff for us.
Okay.
Then you want to get some money. That's how you gonna get your money.
True.
You know, or not. Won't come here.
Oh. Is he trying to come up here?
Keep on saying it, but I think he's trying to so busy chasing booty. So don't tell him what he's doing.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
How's his son doing? On the child? Has he got a daughter?
Yeah, she's good.
Okay.
She's
Put your granddaughter there.
yeah. Like a robot. So. Good time to call. So there is. But I don't see Ron. But hold on. You don't come to me right. we should do? Let's get a jump start today. Let's take this stuff by the door.
Okay.
So you can be fast.
Gotcha.
You take that. Let me check. music family thing. Let's go. Oh, is it 7? What time is it? 7:52 or
7:53.
Oh, so maybe somebody's clock is wrong. The one in there has 7:55.
Hello, how are you all? How are you? Good. Hi. What did you all show about?
Tonight we're talking about good music.
Did you have to see dancers like that? The rest of us, but not good as oh, but you know what? The man that has everything, you can teach him.
Correct. So you can use my input.
You can. I've been married 35 years, but I didn't have that problem. Bye. Now I'm serious. One of my calls, the lead or something. Thank you, You welcome. Thank you for having us. We don't have 1,000 years from now.
And if I'm ever, like, if I was available Saturday, I would come to
Hey Adam, you get ready to go live on YouTube?
Yeah, I just check. I think we're already live.
No, I think that's a still. You sure? Look.
No. I'm talking. I just turned it on.
Oh, okay.
Charles,
Yeah.
I'm so confused. So, why is this the picture of choice if you have pictures with all of us?
I have multiple flyers circulating. I took them to the show yesterday. Thank you. They got pictures of Jenny, y'all.
I can imagine.
I did that for the thing yesterday. That's why I did that one. You know, I have to mark.
like about me?
Yeah, I had to mark it. I don't want to put you all on there. I want to put you on there for it. So you can just call and be like, don't be looking at me. And be like, we don't become to that.
I thought you were putting those closer.
Oh, I am. I wanted to make it so you can see us though. I don't want to get to so. Okay, let's try this.
It isn't live yet, is it?
How, does it look considerably closer? Can you see all y'all in it?
Yeah, I mean we can see everybody. Yeah.
In this one, you sure?
In that one, yeah.
Okay, let me try this one.
So, okay, this is YouTube, got it.
You're not doing this?
No, because I can never, ever can hear it.
Just take her down.
Are we on YouTube now too?
Yeah, we're on YouTube now.
Hey, y'all can follow me.
Now. That's only a minute.
Look, man, I'm gonna start doing like this too when I need to talk.
No, you're like Adam. Thank you very much.
And then I'll be like, I still have something else to say.
That laugh is so ghastly.
Be like, oh, well, I'm blending in my nail.
You do what?
I look like a black shadow.
You can see, I don't,
You don't let me go live.
I don't have y'all.
I forgot. I didn't go live yet.
Okay.
I know we're live on Facebook, right? Can somebody tell me?
We're not live on Facebook yet.
We're not live on Facebook?
Not yet. Let's see now.
Here we come.
Can you hear me, Rhonda? Yeah. It's not on yet.
Can somebody check YouTube to make sure we live?
How do you do that?
Just go on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm ready to go live. But see, I already on YouTube.
Why?
No, I just want to make sure that we're
Huh?
live.
Why
What
is
should
it
I look at?
Unique
What you trying to do?
perspectives. Just
I'm
look
trying
at
to-
Oh, hold on, wait till this comes up. Hold on. Oh, it didn't come up yet. Hold
No,
on.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I don't feel like it's up, but let me do this. Hold on.
It's 7.
Here we go. Right, and now go ahead on and do your let me make it public.
Did you change? No, that's not it. That's not it.
That's not it.
That's mine, on mine. Let me go ahead and share this right quick. You share it, let's do it. I made it public so you can go to my page and share it now.
I'm on your page.
Okay, so go to reset your thing at the top. Like press the reset type thing.
Can you check YouTube? Like you guys know.
Who? Just go to, who, me?
You.
Oh, hold on. We're doing good. This is good. I'm gonna do this next time. Get in right in here early.
Say something. Talk. Talk.
What do you want me to say? What
No,
you
I
want me
wanted
to
you,
say?
I wanted you to talk so I could see it.
Testing 1, 2, 3. What's going on? But my mic sound nice.
Okay, well, never mind.
Check one.
Always take something to run with it.
Yeah.
That voice is scary.
You know, whatever.
Alright, let me try this one more again.
Alright, this road's better. What's that one? This.
Okay.
Come on.
Stream to YouTube. Okay, say stream to YouTube.
Oh man, where's the thing at? Where's the video? Hold on. Where's the video? Do you see it? Okay, there we go. You share, Joy?
Really?
Looks about right.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Once again,
Let's go.
Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, and we are back for yet another exciting week. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and their week has gotten off to a good, happy Monday. First things first, I want to send a shout out to 6 Brown Chicks for extending me the wonderful invitation and opportunity of speaking at the 2018 Black Women's Expo on yesterday at the Black Love Boot Camp. Thanks to Zandra Hughes for good looking out. By the way, I got an invite already for next year.
Oh,
But
good.
anyway,
Okay. You're doing big things.
yeah, also,
Sort of.
it doesn't look good to be a hater. So, but
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
no, but also, I met some wonderful, intelligent, smart, positive brothers, and I talked to them, and
Any of them
soon
single?
a lot of them, somebody speakers on here, but a lot of them are. We're gonna do a specific show. We're gonna do a specific show for men only, and it's gonna be. We're gonna just give it to you to the women straight, and you all can ask as many questions as you like. But we're gonna give it to you from the man's perspective.
Okay.
And we're gonna go from there. That's on that. Everyone, if you're in the room, say hello. Shout out to everybody. Say hello, and so we know that you're there.
Check it out on YouTube.
Yes. Oh, also, if everybody has family members that may want to tune in that don't have. If you don't have Facebook, we are now on YouTube Live. So if you go to Unique Perspectives Radio on YouTube, you'll see us there. Or you can just put in Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, and you go to the page, and see it live there. You may be able to see it on my feed down low. I'm not sure. I think it's also, yeah. If you go down, scroll down my page, you'll also see it there on the YouTube as well. So tonight's topic, it is he does everything well except me. So what we are talking about, is the man that's the wonderful Renaissance debonair man, and everywhere he's a gentleman. He looks out. He opens the car doors. He does all the right things except the right thing.
Except the right thing.
And we also have, hey, you know what, we can't. After talking to the fellas yesterday, they were like, you can't leave the women out. And so, so here's where we're coming from with the women. So we have the accommodating woman, that shows up everywhere except where it counts.
Wow.
So we're gonna go with that. But I want to start with a bit of a little controversy.
Oh Lord.
And I'm gonna give this take first, and then we can have at the meat of it. But I was talking to Adam on the way here, and I was telling him, too often we just look to say, hey, we're quick to dismiss this person and say they're bad in bed or whatever, they're not good, he doesn't do this, that, and the other. But I don't think we consider, sometimes, whether it be the man or the woman, we have to consider where you come from and where you're comparing him to.
Right.
Because a lot of times, let's just be raw and flat. Sometimes, some of us have been in some shoes that the new guy can't fill, if you get my drift.
Right.
We talking equipment.
Right.
Let's just be honest. Sometimes you may be somewhere with somebody. You might be somewhere with a guy who he can't help who he is. No guy can help what they were blessed with, whether it be good, bad, small, inadequate, however you want to call it.
Right.
Everybody's blessed with a tool. It don't matter. It depends on how blessed it is.
That's the word you're
But
gonna go.
but here's what I'm saying though. What I'm saying is, it's unfair to sort of, kind of count a person out just off of that.
Right.
I get it. Don't get me wrong. It's an ugly thing, and when it gets down to the wire, it really matters to women. It really matters. I can't say that, express that enough. I'll tell you later in the show why. But I will say, some women, and I'm not trying to turn this on the women, but some women, like you said, they're used to a total different makeup in the bedroom with someone else.
Right.
Let's just say somebody said, oh, I only was to date ex-cons. Let's just make an example. So the ex, I'm just making an example, okay? Now listen, boom, boom.
Boy, I know what
So
you about to bring up boom, boom.
Don't act like you ain't never rode the jail bus.
No,
So anyway,
not my thing.
what time of visitation? But right.
They don't have any money, no.
So here's the thing. Okay, jail person, right? Here's Rhonda. Now let's say here's the jail person. He get home, boom, he come in the door. So it's a whole different treatment.
Right.
You get my drift? So it's just like,
right,
and then here's a new
right.
guy. Natalie, come hither. No, it's a total different ball.
That's like a stereotype.
No, but I'm telling you.
It could be the guy with the suit on that's uptight, and
Of
he
course.
could be behind closed
True.
doors.
Of course.
Yeah, trying to choke you
Of
out.
course, I get it. Of course, and you're absolutely right. But I'm just saying, I was trying to make the point of the nature of the guy. Let's just think about it. They made the song about it. I want a guy to have a roughneck. So there was a connotation to the roughneck. And as we all know, roughnecks come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. But there was a connotation put to it. That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, okay.
So I would say we should start there. And I said the first things first is, I don't think every woman, when they entertain a guy before you guys go into being intimate with each other, I wonder if the person do you really ask the person, or do you tell them what you like? Do you ask him what he likes and tell him what you like? I had made a reference on one of my comments to somebody last week when I first posted the show, and I told the person, I said, well, did you give him your tutorial? You know, you got to give him your tutorial.
Orientation.
You know, yeah, like every job gives you an orientation
That's
of who
right.
you are. So did you give him the roadmap to you?
Right.
Or I mean, at least you can spell it out to him. You can't
Right.
make
You
him.
expect him to
You can't
know
make
it.
him get to the end,
Right.
but you can't say, "Hey, this is the road." If you're dealing with me, you know
Right.
how to tell him everything else you want,
Right.
whether it be money, bills, whatever expectation. You can say that.
Right.
So tell him that expectation.
Yeah,
Say,
I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, see-
Maybe some women do, I don't.
but see, but
I'm,
no,
I'm too old. Charles, I'm too old.
no, I get that. But
Okay.
listen,
All right.
old or not, okay, old or not. Just like you
I
say
mean,
you
it-
too old. So your thing, okay, I get it. You subscribe to the either it's gonna hit or it's gonna miss.
It's hit or miss.
Okay, okay,
You
so
got
that's-
it or
So you don't have a
That's it.
conversation about what is it?
No,
for?
okay, either you have it or
When-
you don't.
When
I
are
just-
you having this conversation? Is it like, hey, I'm thinking about, maybe giving you some this weekend. We gotta talk about how I like it.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out the
But
context.
let's be
when you
straight.
have this
Nowadays, that's where the
conversation.
conversations are. Nowadays, that the days of old is gone.
I'm
Where you
not
say,
having that. That's-
when are we gonna
Yeah.
do this? 3 months from now? No, people are having a conversation up
Okay, so
close
like when
and
you're ready
personal.
to kiss somebody, you say, okay, here's what I'm gonna need you to do.
When you kiss
Come
me,
in
you
close.
better not.
Tilt to the left
No,
a little
look.
bit.
Come on,
We don't
Insert
need
your
to
tongue
say
into
that.
right. I'm just saying.
We're
I'm
just
just.
talking about in terms of the sexual experience that you're having with a
Correct.
particular person. Are you
Correct.
being specific in terms of what you would like to have?
Okay.
That's all we're saying.
Is that a conversation that maybe better takes place after you've had that experience, and then you can kind of gauge
Tweak
what
it.
happened,
Yeah.
tweak it.
So you
But
would
you
rather-
can't have that conversation before, because then you kill the vibe. It's all
Okay.
weird and everything.
All right.
Okay,
It's like,
but-
hey,
but-
let's
but let's be- but
lay
let's-
out a roadmap for doing
But
this.
let's be honest, Natalie. The tale of the tape is told after the first fight. That's when you see what everybody can do. As soon as it's over with, girl, that nigga can kick rocks. You don't give it no time to talk. You don't give no time to talk. As soon as it's over with, you on the phone with your girlfriend. He's
Yeah,
busted. I don't know what's wrong with him, and you know how that goes. That's
Right,
exactly.
right.
So that's why I said you need to talk about it ahead of time. So at least he has an expectation. He might say, let's just say if the guy's coming up short of equipment, right? He might be like, I don't know if I feel like fooling with Natalie. Let me just keep winding down her for a while. I don't want to get into this because she may have this expectation.
I don't
that I
like
know I
me
can't
being
feel.
the example. I want Rhonda to be the example. I don't want to be the example.
Okay, I can-
Because it's always
No,
a
no,
dumb
no,
example.
no, no.
When it's my turn, it's a dumb example. I don't like it.
Come on.
Give it to me. I'm ready.
So what I'm saying is, sometimes, this may happen. Like you may meet the guy, and he may be intimidated. Because I'm just gonna tell you straight up, if a guy, I'm gonna tell y'all on the radio land, if a guy isn't confident of himself, he's not gonna handle Rhonda.
Right.
Flat out.
Yeah,
Because
he
Rhonda
will.
is gonna eat you up, spit you out, tell you the
Right.
raw truth.
Right.
Like, you mean, is that small?
Right.
You're gonna go leave
Fill out
her
the
house.
survey card, but
That's it.
no,
She's
you don't qualify.
gonna give it to you straight in the bed hand. But see, she's like an exception to the rule. Now there are a lot of honest women, but I don't know too many of them that are just gonna be as raw up front
Right.
as Rhonda probably
Okay.
will. And so that's why I say that. But
Dream killer, Rhonda.
but you gotta find the good in it, because being that way, she welcomes
weed out
exactly
the
what
bad.
she
Weed
needs.
Be honest about what
Yeah,
you
she
want.
welcomes being
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
She's
yeah. Like you didn't like.
she's more likely to get the more better sexual partners
Right.
than the average, because she knows she's cutting at the line, and if you can't cut the toe, thanks.
Exactly.
It's hard, but it's wrong.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't when you brought this topic up, I was like, this is one of those topics again that is not really my field of expertise, because I don't know what it's like, because I'm not tolerated out the door. Like, so I don't think I would ever get to a point where it gets dull in the bedroom, because you have to warm me up first to get there. So if I don't feel any chemistry from the beginning, the electricity from the just being around you, or from the kiss, we probably are not gonna ever make it to the bedroom for me to see if it's a dud. That's me though.
So Judith in the comments, Judith says, okay, it's not what equipment you have,
Right.
it's how you use
Do
it.
it. Right.
Right.
Okay,
That's what you
Judith.
do.
What if the equipment falls short or can't come in and start the job? Period. Then what do? You get mad?
I mean,
Like,
what if
you
they
know
have the
what?
equipment and they don't know what to do with
Yeah,
it?
that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, that too. And so here's the other part
That's
of it.
different though.
But here's the other part of it. And you guys correct me. I'm not the women on the panel. You are. So correct me as I say this. I think sometimes part of the whole disappointment with how it gets put on 10 is because I think that the first thing women, the reaction they get is that it's something, like they don't want anything to remotely reflect on their self-esteem, to make it seem like, so I don't make you get excited? Like, what's wrong? Why I keep on doing that, going back and forth? Why it's not staying like it is? What's wrong with me? So immediately it infuriates women if it doesn't go through. If it doesn't go through, she's gonna be mad unless you got some real good explanation beyond blue pills. Something else.
Okay.
You got some kind of explanation as to why this is happening and give her a plan and what you plan to do to fix it. Other than that, it's gonna be a problem.
Is that true or not?
It is for me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
Natalie?
So,
See, go ahead.
it's such a delicate, touchy situation, right?
Okay.
So if the performance is subpar and it's a repeated action, then I think a lot of women, the first sentiment you feel is, wow, is it me? Is it something I'm doing? But after it happens like
Over and over.
over and over, you're like, no, it's a you problem.
Okay.
And it's mandatory that you go figure out what it is, or it's just at the point, the whole purpose of two people engaging in that activity is for it to be mutually pleasurable, right?
Right.
So if only one person is experiencing pleasure and then the other one isn't, then it's not fun. And so, no, a woman would not likely be able to, or would want to go through with it again.
Right. Okay.
That's
So-
just something as a man you should want to be able to perform and operate the right way.
So, our always faithful adversarial guest, Janet, says, no, that's Janet says, no, that's his issue, not mine. So she's like, I don't have that. If he has a
that's
problem,
right,
it's not mine. So yeah, I mean, like I said, again, she's another person that owns her perspective.
Right.
Rhonda owns hers.
Right.
Janet's
She
gonna
owns
say
hers.
immediately, I'm not gonna feel insecure because
Yeah,
you
I
can't
don't
do
need
something.
Janice. I'm like,
Right.
But some women will take that approach.
Yeah.
The first thing is natural, and it has nothing to do necessarily with the women being weak. They may be a little stronger, but it's just a natural reaction to look at yourself and be like, why?
Well, yeah.
But I think the same thing goes into play. Like if you, as a man, if you had a woman who her body wasn't responding the way that a woman's body normally responds during that moment, I think, you know, if a man is being honest, he can admit that his first thought is like, dang, you know, why is this not happening to
To the
me?
woman.
Like, why is she not responding to me the way that I want her to respond to me? So I think that's just kind of natural, whether you're a man or a woman, when it comes to your partner not being up to par the first couple times.
Well, first thing the man should ask himself before he thinks about her not responding, have I knocked at all the doors available to get a response? There are other doors available to get a response. So, first, you need to do that. So there are other doors you can try to get a response. I mean, because let's just be honest, that's an experienced mindset. You have to have a mindset to be able to say, when you approach it, you knocking at this door, oh, it ain't working. Okay, this door working, this door working. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do to try to get it working. Because sometimes you'll be surprised that if you reach a door that the woman, she may say, now wait a minute, then that will encourage her to kind of maybe even work with you even more. What's wrong? Something's happening?
Mevo's pausing.
The broadcast is pausing.
I know this one
I
stopped.
don't see it. Nothing's happening here.
We're back online, so we should be good.
Can everybody say if it's okay? Because I don't see anything that's going on.
I mean, we can't tell
on
the
our end,
audience
it's
whether
not.
it's pausing or not because we don't have a monitor to be able to see.
Yeah, because normally it will say.
Like that.
Can everybody say, give me a thumbs up, somebody that it's okay, it's not pausing, so I can know I don't have to
Yeah.
change anything. If you're seeing it okay.
Right. But
Okay, somebody said thumbs okay.
it's
Cool.
fine now. Okay.
Now, okay, cool. Also, let's see. Landon says you have some folks that fake it too. He says a lot of men don't have confidence and suffer from erectile dysfunction. He says they end up using pills like Viagra, Cialis, and he said, or gas station pills. Let's see. And he says people don't get a real feel for one another anymore. They worry about their needs, not others. Bang.
That's actually
Go ahead.
a question
Segue.
I was going to
Segue.
ask is, okay, so I guess my thing would be, isn't the whole purpose of it, well, not the whole purpose of it, isn't part of the purpose of it is to bring pleasure to your spouse, to your partner,
Correct.
right? And so you should be at least trying to find out what makes your partner happy,
Okay.
what pleases them, what
Okay.
takes them to the climax,
Yeah.
what
Right.
gets them over. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? Then yeah, we are being self-absorbed. We are serving our own interests and trying to get our own thing off.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's a little bit selfish on our end.
Correct.
If you're only concerned about you and you trying to get yours,
then
It's
you
like
can
the
really
best. Yeah,
go to a strip club.
Right.
correct.
Or pull up a porny mag, or
Right.
go on your phone and find something. Honestly, because you're not a pornographic magazine.
She know what it is.
I know that was a nickname before
You see that icon on their phone? What does it say? Red tube? Okay, anyway.
That's
Or
his
red
lie,
tube.
knock it off.
But
yeah.
if you're not doing it to please them, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why I said, okay, after the first time, okay, you need to ask a question. Am I pleasing to you? And if I'm not pleasing to you, what can I do to please you?
Yeah,
Correct.
but we agree with that. We said that maybe like once you get into it, you can start having the conversation like what you can do to enhance it to make it better.
Right.
But originally you were saying that like we were gonna sit down and have this conversation beforehand about A, B, C, and D. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm 50-50 on that. I'm 50 or 50 on that because of the fact that I think again initially if I'm starting to date you in that regard, then those are going to be questions that I do ask. I'm going to be just forthright and transparent with you and say, hey, how do you feel about blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think when people are on the phone talking initially getting to know each other, you kind of say,
Yeah, you kind of feel each other out in
what
that
floats your boat,
regard.
what
Okay.
turns you on.
So here's a good point, and this is a tough one. But Kimberly Davis says, I'm willing to work with a good man in the bedroom if he is willing to hear my critique or accept my suggestions when we are in the moment. However, some men don't want to hear a woman that knows
They don't
what
wanna hear
pleases
that.
her in the
They
bedroom.
cannot take a
They take a strong woman in the bedroom as intimidating.
Their
Wanda,
egos cannot take it.
From your experience, don't you think that when you try to critique a man, he takes it as if, you're trying to put down his skills or you're comparing him to the next man
Yeah, the egos
versus...
can't take it. And
Yeah.
I remember going through that in like my 20s, and I was dating an older man, and I told my girlfriend he was not up to par, and so she said, well, why don't you try to have a conversation with him? And I was like, okay. So I kind of, I tried to like really tiptoe around the conversation. Like, and he was like, well, it must be something wrong with you because I've never had any complaints before. And
That,
I
I
was
swear to God, that is the famous saying.
and I was like, well, then
It must
maybe you've
be
never
you.
been with a woman as forward as I am, and maybe they just fake it. I'm not a faker.
Because all along he's been dealing with women who don't communicate with
Exactly.
him in terms of telling him
Or
the
who
truth.
who settle for mediocrity. I mean, I don't do that in the bedroom.
That's old school thinking.
So.
Okay, so
Honestly, nowadays.
Landon says, yes, it's about pleasing your partner, but it's about pleasing self too. Doing for your partner all the time and not getting anything out of it can leave the other famished or sexually starved.
Well, if you please
I
them, they
get
will
that.
please you, right? Isn't it reciprocal?
No, but
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Okay, my
wait a
friend
minute.
said-
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
She said you can't coach size.
That's what I'm saying.
And you can't change size.
That's what I was going to say to Kimberly. I was going to say one part is if it's really a size issue, then you have to make an educated decision and say, can I do this honestly or not? Because to be honest, I would say approach it from this perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel you're going to need a supplement, it's probably not what you need to do.
Right.
Because most people, they'll say, well, he's nice, but then they already know in the back of their mind, Supplemental John is across the street. And they know they're going to call up Supplemental John and be like, what you doing this weekend? The guy was nothing. I just want to go hang out. The hangout turn to a quick dinner and go right back to the house and get taken care of. You know how it is. So that's where it goes. Let's see. Supplemental John. That's right. Then she said, pull out now. This is where Kimberly goes too far. She said exactly. Pull out a toy or introduce a position to the wrong guy, and he'll take it the wrong way. You're right. He's gonna get his keys and leave.
You'd be surprised how many guys are thrown off by the introduction of a toy. They feel like it's taking away from what they're able to do.
Because you know why?
When it can often add to the experience.
To your experience. It does nothing for the guy. I'm gonna tell you why he said that, because he's saying, okay, I don't want to say your name. Is Melissa's private area, listen, is Melissa's private area so numb that she needs this electronic to help supplement what I have? That's what a man thinks. He's thinking, why do you got to bring out this electronica to take it to the next level? Am I not enough?
Well, that's not all men, though. That's not all men.
See, but the point I was making,
it's not.
Yeah, but not all men feel like that, but some men.
Most of them do. Believe me.
Why do you want to bring out a toy? Am I not enough for you?
But guess what? That one,
In my Charles
nine times out of 10, the guy who likes the toy stuff, he be the same one to say, "Hey Kevin, come on up in the room too." Trust believe, I'm telling you. people's
we're not talking
mindset
about
stretch
a
really far.
penetrating toy. We're talking about a toy that might be to stimulate a certain area of a woman that helps us reach.
But what do
further.
we have to help us? While you sitting there doing that, what are we supposed to be doing? Meaning, what's helping us? I'm not saying what's helping us.
You don't
got your
stop the
stimulus.
action because
No,
There you go with the
no.
selfish
You're
thing
missing
again.
my
You
point.
just think
Yes.
do things for
Yes.
your partner sometimes.
So what's the? I'm just saying, you get in your buzz. Where's my buzz?
But if you're still interacting with her while she's getting her buzz, why are you tripping?
Because
What's the problem?
you're getting double portion. I'm getting
Why did you
single.
worry about
Okay,
the wrong
that's-
thing? That's just at that point. You
Don't
just
you want to
worried
keep
about
them
the wrong
happy?
thing.
You want to keep them
Why
happy
would you
too, right?
be unhappy if you were having your fun while she's having her fun? Everyone's happy right now.
But he may,
What's the problem?
you're missing it. He may not be happy because you feel
So
you need a supplement.
he's going to withdraw himself and say, since you're doing that, I don't want to do this right now. What? What are you saying?
Okay. Well, you know what? If he just in it for to take a warm bath, he probably not gonna care. But if he's trying to be into you, he's gonna be like, why do you need this? Because now this means going forward, Natalie is prone to whip out her 38 pistol. And I don't feel like dealing with this.
God.
That's just gonna tell you. That's what they're gonna think. So
Charles, I think you got it all wrong.
no,
Yeah.
He's speaking from one perspective.
no, I'm taking
He
from
is.
men.
show is called
I taught this from many
Perspective.
men. Told me this very thing about that very thing.
But I don't think all men have a problem with that, and they're not necessarily going to be like, Kevin, come out the closet. It's not.
Right.
They might not. They might not. Especially if put like this. If he thinks this is the only way Natalie's gonna be satisfied,
Only one way.
go ahead.
It's only one
Only
way.
one. Okay, fine. But if not, he's gonna be like, okay, now this is you doing this. Put that thing over there. Well,
The only time you should be particularly alarmed is if it's one particular toy that you would have to experience as well. Other than that, like, why would
See,
you
you're
be
close-minded,
alarmed?
Charles. You're not going to get anywhere being close.
nothing's buzzing on me unless it's anyway. So this is what I would say. You know what I would do if somebody was at home with Natalie's mindset, I would come home for lunch and take the batteries out and use them all up so they can be low when she turns on.
What's that? So you got a choice,
that's
but
it.
to get with you.
Yeah, that's it. But that was
Oh my
bad.
God.
Honestly speaking, though, I'm the type of woman, I don't understand why women need a toy if they have a man who's sufficient.
Adequate.
That's
You
what
got
I'm
that
saying.
right.
That's the whole point.
That's, yeah, for me.
That would be the whole point.
All right, so let's keep on going. So Landon said, let's go on. They got a lot going. He says, hold up. If someone pulls out a toy, he said, hold up. If somebody pulls out a toy in the bedroom, I'm gonna feel some type of way. Like,
Thank you.
wait, what's that for? Okay, then she said, let's be blunt. If it ain't just that some woman pull out a strap on or dildo in bed with me, I'm already like, hold up.
But that's not the type of toy we're talking about.
I know, but you can't distinguish. They're toys.
Right, they're
period.
toys.
Everybody has their level of
Kimberly
service.
has
Other
an
than the other
accurate comment
person.
at the bottom. Scroll down and get
Okay,
her.
okay.
not
Kim
Bill.
says a man
Not
that
that
is
one.
secure.
The other
A man that's secure in his skills knows a woman can complement his skills to heighten her pleasure. It takes nothing away from him. Okay, Janice, and the reality is that if a man, woman isn't getting their needs met, say it, Janice, they will be tempted by outside distractions for that need. It's important to tell your partner what you like
Right.
to encourage to
Communicate
act
with
more. Otherwise, to not hurt someone's feelings with this consequence, don't hold on to that person. I agree 100%.
I agree with that.
100%.
They're gonna go with a complex
yes,
every time
and
they
then-
approach you.
And then Kimberly, I'll let you go. Kimberly says, let me be exact. Utilizing a bullet while a man is penetrating you only heightens the pleasure. Don't be alarmed. Well, you don't be alarmed when your neck is choked and it comes to your head too. Anyway, so all right. So now, what is this? Who else? Okay, Kimberly. Oh, Landon said bullet. What? Good God. Anyway. All right.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
I mean, it leads me to this question. Okay, so you have one of two choices, and so I would just like to know what the vast majority would say. If you're in a relationship where you're not sexually fulfilled, do you A, stay and try to work through it and tell them what it is that they're lacking in, or do you cheat or do you leave?
No, I think
I think
you
you have a
be honest.
conversation first.
Yes.
You have a
Be
conversation.
honest first, and then if you know, all right, Laverne, she's talking about penis rings. This is going to
Mercy.
it's going to have diamonds. Anyway, so all that.
Is it
So
platinum?
yeah. So I mean, I think you tell the person, if I was in this situation, I would say, I can say this. I've had a situation where I really liked the person.
Mhm.
They were funny. I could talk to them, whatever. But after a while, I was like, I'm not really getting And then it just kind of became like, you know, it slowly fizzled to me just not really doing nothing at all, until one day I felt so bad because the person kept saying, I want to see you, I want to come over here today, and I was like, you only got so many excuses. You got, I'm going to the gym, work, everything else. But nonetheless, so I just said to them, I said to the person, I said, so here's the thing. I said, you're going to sit down, let's have a quick talk. Right. She said, okay. I said, I think when it comes to, I say, a sexual clashings of the mind, right? I'll get back to Neil's statement. I said, when it comes down to that, you have to be honest first.
Yeah, you do.
About where you come from versus where you are.
Right.
And I said, I started with this preface, you're not about to get fired. I said, you're a great worker person. You're nice. We're going in a different direction. Yeah, we said you're great, you're nice, you're always dependable, and you called a lot. Right. But in the bedroom department, I think you and I, we kind of on different wavelengths. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I think, and I said, this is not your fault, but I think I'm used to a different height of dealing than you. Okay. And I said, and so there is a mismatch. And I said, if you remember, several times I asked you, do you like this? Do you like that? And you said, you didn't give me no answer. But I asked you, you laughed, and was pointing, I was being serious. Right. That was a teachable moment. She went over her head, she didn't miss it. So I brought it back up to her. I said, remember I said this to you, and it went over here. You was like, oh, I thought you was playing. No. I was letting you know where my level was versus yours.
Can we just take a time out right there? Because I don't want you to forget what you told me right there. But do you think that that's something that you can teach somebody? I tried. No, really? Because
honestly, to be speaking, I'm more of a take control person. So in that taking control, it's not just me having my way, it's me having my way and teaching at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So it's a couple things going on at once. And so I'm saying, okay, so if this isn't happening, if the person isn't gravitating, then I know, then guess what? We're not, it's like two dance partners. Somebody can really waltz and the other one can't. You stepping on my foot. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not working.
I think you can teach them, but they have to be teachable.
Correct. That's what I mean.
If they're willing to learn, then yes.
But I think she was stuck at the place of, she knew where she was in her prowess, lack thereof. Okay. And so she was just happy to be there. And in her mind, look, let's not make more of this bad thing than just you doing this and get up. She wasn't willing to take it to another place.
Okay. So she didn't want to participate.
Yeah, she didn't want to go to another place on that level to ensure both people were pleased. Right. So that's where we were left. And so when she was done, you know what, surprisingly enough, she said, you know what? She said, nobody never said that. I thought I was okay. But she said, but I appreciate you for being honest. So I could deal with that. You know, she did say
sometimes someone has to hear something multiple times from different people.
Correct.
To realize it is them.
Wow. Okay, so
that might be the case.
So picking back up, Landon says, Kimberly, you want to hurt that man's pride. Okay, so Tanil says, leave because you will contemplate cheating. That's 100%
That's how
true.
I feel. It's gonna lead to cheating.
Kimberly says, no, Landon, if I'm into him and he's into me, I won't hurt his feelings, but there has to be an honest communication and transparency between us. I'm a very honest and upfront person, so he will know I'm coming from a place of pleasure and love because I'm willing to take suggestions as well. Okay. Janice says, and not everybody likes the same things, and that's okay. There is someone for everyone out there, which is true. Laverne says, if a man / woman can make love to you mentally, then the physical aspect much more pleasurable. Yeah. You still have to have equipment.
Yeah, you do.
You know what?
Like, my mind is so great. Come on, when he comes on there, what is going on? This isn't real. So, you know, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. Let's keep it real. That's what it is. Now, let's switch over to the woman's side. Okay. We talk about the men. So yesterday, it was an interesting question. One of the women that was out in the audience asked the question to the panel. She says, what can a woman do to be better in bed? And she says, I was told that I was boring. And so she said, you answered. I'm like, does she know me or something? Anyway, she said, you answered. So I told her this. Now, I'm saying this here because I was going to post the clip earlier, but I said, I don't want to get crucified by the church. I did. So nonetheless, but, you know, I'm not going to be a raunchy person, never on purpose. I'm going to be clean about it. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to share what I said.
Okay.
So what I said to her, I said, well, for me, I said, every guy has their own perspective of what works for them as you being, you know, better or improving, whatever that looks like. And if you're saying you're boring, I said, so that when I hear the word boring, my mind automatically goes to presentation.
Okay.
How are you presenting yourself?
Right.
So think about it. If everybody goes into a restaurant or a buffet line, the first thing people do before they order anything is they say, they look to see how the presentation is.
Okay.
You want to see, because when you
Visual.
when you look at that moment when you're looking, that's what changes the way you approach the food. You're gonna be aggressive. You're gonna say, give me all that, or you're gonna say, I guess I'm hungry. Just go and put that in there. That's the halfway lazy stuff.
Right.
But it's the choice you make.
Right.
So then I said, because I said, here's the kicker. And this is when they were like, really? They started going crazy. This is what I said. Some of y'all women look like hospital patients in the bed. And I'm gonna tell you why. No, listen, I'm gonna tell you why. Here it is. Some women will get in the bed. So picture this. I'm gonna draw a picture to you. Picture the guy coming in the room and he done went and showered. He's supposed to put his cologne on. He's ready to
They
get
got
him
their
in.
rap star.
You come on out in the bedroom. Here she go. She already looking at TV. She sideways.
Right.
She got her glasses on like this. And look. T-shirt got holes in it, then got nerves, and I got no underwear, like that's gonna help it. That don't matter. It looked like a hospital patient, like I got served you some crackers or some pills. So that right there is a turn off as a step. And then I said part two to that. So that's the first part of presentation is how you present yourself visually to him.
Is it aesthetically pleasing?
The second part is how good of a partner are you dance wise. You get my drift. So I said that to say, let's just take everybody's preference. One guy may say, oh, I like a woman with full breasts or whatever. One guy may say, I like behind. And if he's a behind guy, 9 times out of 10, I'm not trying to be dirty, but he likes doggy style. Let's just keep it real.
Okay.
So I said, so women, if he likes doggy style, know how to execute doggy style.
Okay.
Right.
Don't be donkey style.
Okay.
Donkey style is the woman that's like this. Oh, come on. Ain't no attraction to it at all. Here's the thing. I'm telling you, presentation sells. I'm gonna tell you why. A woman. So here's a myth that women don't. Here's a truth that women don't get. A lot of women are so into looking at somebody's booty and somebody's butt is bigger or wide or whatever. But here's the trick. Now, this is coming out of my dirt bag. Here's the dirt bag. Okay, somebody always tells me it's tragic. It's quite tragic. But here's the thing. Women, and maybe this is what my observation because of what I like. But you'll find out that if women can execute that position correctly, it really don't matter really what size behind they have. It looks great.
It doesn't matter.
If you know how to do it, it looks good. It don't matter if you donk or you just halfway decent or workout shit. It don't matter. If you know how to do it, but if you don't, I'm telling you, there's nothing like the donkey where you just see this funny back up and it's like, what's going on here? What's this biscuit? So it don't look right. So there's nothing like the donkey.
You got the internet crack.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. So what I'm saying is, so you want to see the presentation. The presentation is right because it makes the guy say, "Oh, she's in."
As retarded as Charles sounds, I actually agree with him.
Yes, I'm telling
He
you,
is right. He is right.
The presentation is what makes or break the act. Because trust me, you will notice a different response if you can execute whatever position he likes. Great, he's gonna respond to you totally different. But if you all kind of like, come on, he gonna give you the lazy stuff. That's what he'll have. I'm coming out the lazy bag tonight. That's what he's gonna say. And that's what
you know. The other side of that is, as you said, presentation. I think the other side of that is participation.
Correct.
Nobody wants to deal with somebody who's just a bump on the log,
Correct.
or a cold dead fish.
Correct.
You want somebody who's participating with you, not spectating and watching it, or just letting things happen to them.
Wow. Yeah. What is that?
A lot
What
of
is
this,
that?
a lot of this
Patient or
is
something.
about becoming a great actress for women.
You know what,
sorry,
Rhonda?
it's true.
Go
That's what
there.
the truth
Please
is.
go
It's about
there.
theatrics.
Go there.
Because you guys are visual creatures.
Yeah.
So sometimes whether we're that into
Into
it or not, we have to fake it until we make it.
Correct.
So
Alright.
I
Or
agree.
if you have the right doctor in the room, you have to fake nothing. But anyway, so
No, but I'm
you know
not.
what?
But maybe I'm not completely saying fake it.
I
But
know,
maybe
but I get what
over
you're saying. You may
exaggerate.
go outside of your
You might
norm.
have
Yes,
to
of course.
over exaggerate,
Of
like
course.
what you're saying.
Of
You have
course,
to
I agree.
overly exaggerate what you're talking
Okay,
about.
so who else is
Like you
talking?
said, the donkey thing.
Maria said donkey. Never heard that before.
Jackie said she ain't into acting. You better.
But I'm not
Yeah,
saying
you should talk
acting.
about
I'm
acting in
saying
terms of-
visual. Yeah.
She's talking.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
talking
saying
about.
the theatrics of it.
She's
I'm
not talking about the
saying
physicality of
Yeah.
feeling. She's talking about the painting the picture,
Painting the
the
picture.
physical painting of the picture.
the
She's talking about.
seductiveness of it.
All right, so let's do it. We can't really do a show without seeing what some stuff in the research arena has to say.
Yes,
All right, real quick. Here's a question someone posted. The guy I'm dating is great in every possible way except for the sex. What do I do?
Dump him.
It ain't gonna work.
So here's the answer.
It ain't gonna work.
The answer to this question depends on who is doing the asking, number one, how old you are, how old is he. Then it says, are you at the point in your life where sex isn't nearly as important as the fact that he is the only man in your group of friends whose family still lets him keep his car keys? But anyway, how much practice has he had?
Right, that's
Is
the
he
question
is he 5 years past his first wet dream, or has he had plenty of time in women and should not need and should not need a chart of the female anatomy to find her port of entry? I know all too well how hard it is to find a great guy, but for me, I'm still at an age in my life that he could be the funniest, sweetest guy in the world, and yet every time I looked at him, all I'd be able to think was, I may never orgasm with him again.
Wow.
Whereupon my laughter would quickly turn to tears and ultimately one giant sob fest.
Right.
She says, I don't know, maybe it is also because to me, sex is like a dessert. You see, I love a good meal just like anybody else, but to me, it's never complete without something sweet at the end. And she says, you know, like a chocolate chip cookie and a piece of fudge cake, a rich creamy penis. She's
What?
and then she's like, oh wait, she said that's not a real. She says, oh wait, that's not a real dessert. A dessert, is it? Then she says, I'll admit that some nights a good episode of The Closer would come on in a close second, but honestly, nothing really compares to screaming your head off for a reason that has nothing to do with the fact that your child just pressed the panic button on your alarm system and now the cops on the way over to your place. I guess she's talking about because she,
Right.
yeah. Anyway, so that's one perspective. Oh, you got something to say?
Oh no, I'm
Actually,
listening.
can I introduce two
Sure,
things I'm just
sure.
thinking about? Okay, so I think one of the things that we need to talk about is whether or not if you are actively studying, and you need to study two topics. You need to study love making, how to actually make love to your partner. Number two, study your partner. Again, both of these things
Study your body
combined
language.
will help you. Right, study your body language. Study in terms of what they're looking for. Study how to give them an orgasm. Study how to do the various tricks and execute the various moves and positions. So that way you become skilled at it, because none of us are born being able to perform at peak proficiency. All of us have to study and practice until we master this specific skill for the pleasure of our partner and our own pleasure as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's true.
That's all I'm
Yourself,
saying.
Adam. No, I'm just kidding.
Kimberly said yes, Adam. Good information.
Very good.
But let's just say this though. Now, women, you answer this. If you like what Adam suggested is good to do on his own time in the privacy of his own home. But what would you women say if you walked home and you looked at him, you saw a book, and you might have a split personality on this one, but you see him reading a book, and it's just like it says on there, how to give her
Sexual
an orgasm. Now, at first thought, what would you think?
I would
be
think
impressed.
negatively. I
Yeah,
would be impressed.
Okay,
that you
Yeah.
okay. That's why I wanted to know what the
Yeah.
perspective was when people think if you saw it.
I mean, that's what I've done.
Yeah, okay.
I've read different articles and
Yeah.
you know, read different books. No, seriously, I have.
No,
Yeah.
In terms of how to do certain
Yeah,
things.
okay.
Because again, at the end of the day, if I love this woman the way that I say that I love this woman, then I want to give her the ultimate pleasure possible.
And I know
Every
that, I
single
know that
time.
guys that were great performers, I've asked them how did they get that good, and they said because they researched it,
They
they
researched
studied
it,
it,
yeah.
they read books.
That's right.
Going back to last week's topic, they watch pornos or watch
Okay,
porn
okay,
to,
okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
pick up different techniques.
Right.
I wouldn't be offended.
I guess everybody isn't just a natural. I don't look at
Mr. Battery Pack.
I don't look at movies.
Mr. Battery.
I think honestly, I'm gonna tell you this.
Well, I don't think that you
no.
can
I
be-
think all of us are born with a sensual spirit that you need to get in
Well,
touch
no,
with.
we are.
All of us have a
Or
natural.
that there
Yeah.
isn't
No, I'm
a
just
one
saying.
size fits
No.
all for every
I'm not
person.
saying that. I said everybody has their own. You know.
Okay,
It's
but-
not
Anyway,
one
everybody
size
has their
fits
own
all.
situation.
Okay, but take
Yeah.
this into consideration, Charles,
Yeah.
for yourself, speaking for yourself.
Okay.
Do you realize that maybe for some other woman who's more of a prude, that you might be too much for her? So that means you
agree.
would not be
Yeah, that might
sexually
be true.
No,
compatible.
I
with
agree.
her.
That's why I'm talking about that
So,
situation.
yeah.
No, I agree.
Good sex is different for everybody. It's
I
different.
agree. It's
personalities
important.
and
So,
perspectives.
but that goes along with, like, you know, we use this saying in a biblical sense all the time. But that's where the whole unequally yoke comes from.
Exactly.
It's in all avenues, not just
Right.
church. All avenues of
Yeah.
different lives. You need to make sure whoever you're dealing with, or let's just say settling with,
Mhm.
that you match up well with
Right.
them.
That
And if
you're
you
compatible
don't,
with
but
them.
if you don't take the approach like Ronnie, if you know up front after acrobatics class that this isn't going to work next week, then stop. Don't try to make a miracle out of a disaster.
Right.
It's a natural disaster unless they come in and clean up and fix it and cut it off and tear it down. It's gonna be a natural disaster.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what it is. So we gotta just take that approach, and we try to fix and make all kinds of excuses around trying to keep a person around when we know it's not fair to drag someone that you know really don't make you happy.
Right.
Because someone said something to me one time. They were like, "Oh my God, we are so happy," and this person had already shared with me a lot of her disdain about the bedroom. And so when I said this to her, she got mad at first, and then she shed a tear, and then she said, "Thank you." So she said, "We are so happy." I said, "Don't lie." And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because happy is content everywhere.
Yeah.
If there's
Every
discontent,
area.
there's unhappiness.
Yeah.
So you gotta accept that. Because if you're just claiming happiness because you're getting fed all the fishes and the loaves that you like, you're getting this paid for you, all these things.
Right.
But if he's not knowing, he's going around thinking he's Superman, and you laughing at him behind his back.
Okay.
So you're not really happy. You're really fictitious.
Okay.
So you got to look at it that way and be
Okay.
realistic with it.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So yeah.
Interesting.
So okay.
Oh, Lord.
So I say that to say, getting back to the point. I think, you know. Oh, this is what I meant to do. I remember this. I have a position that people may not agree with, but this is what I think. I think when people say, "Oh my God, this person is so nice," you know why they're nice? They have to be.
Yeah.
A nice person is a person that has everything and can be nice.
Okay.
A person that doesn't, that know that they fall short somewhere, they have made up in their mind, I'm very unpopular in this area, so I better turn over here and really turn up to the 10th degree and do everything possible that I think she'll like.
Okay.
Because see, you'll be surprised how a person responds to you when they have it all. Like, okay, the sex is good. They got all the things, they don't have no issues. If this man or woman is still nice and respectable to you and, you know, and intriguing, they're not trying to be arrogant, you got a gem of a person.
Okay.
But I say most people that have crutches, they learn how to live life best with that crutch. So a guy, that's why you see a lot of men who, one of the biggest signs for a lot of men sometimes that fall short in this department is oversaturation of gifts
Right.
and money.
Okay, I know you-
Because it's like, if I can blind you enough and fatten you up enough,
See the
feed
truth.
you enough,
Right.
take you on trips enough, we can have so much joy on this side that you will forget the side that really matters at home.
Right.
And so that's a big thing, because women do it in reverse. You have the women who know that necessarily that they don't do it for you. They know when that match is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, let's go to the mall. I was like, for what? I'll get you some shoes. You know, I got a lot of shoes. I'm just thinking, that's a whole nother shit.
Boy, bad.
Anyway, so, but that's what, it happens. Some women will flip the script to try to do the same thing men do. They're going to try to buy you because they feel like I know he does this. I told you earlier, people know when you are not contently happy with them. They know it. They know it. They know they know they don't please you. They already know it.
Right.
They know when you're putting on. They know when you're acting, because that is the discernment that we all were gifted with.
Okay.
Right? We all know. You all know the truth. You don't want to accept it, but you know when somebody's holding out on you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is really kind of pretending, faking, and all that. You know it. You just might go along with it because it works, and you are not losing the person. Because let's just be honest, we get stuck on how people make us feel in their presence, not just the sex. It's the presence of Rhonda around somebody that he just wants to be around her all the time because of Rhonda's spirit.
Okay.
But aside from her spirit, and when you go behind the door, if that doesn't line up, then there's a conflict.
But Charles, I also think that just because you're really good in bed doesn't necessarily make you a winner either, because you can have someone that you have an amazing chemistry with, amazing sex with, but then the buck stops there. Like there's no chemistry in other departments. So I think it has to be a balance between being a good person, being nice, and being good in the bedroom. You can't be either or. You can't be like a stallion in the bed and then just a horrible person in general.
Well, I thought I said that. That's why I said the word.
I don't know.
No, I said
a
few seconds ago. I said if you have a person that has a balance of these things and they're humble, that's a great person.
Right.
I said that already.
You said that at the beginning.
I don't know.
I did say
maybe
that.
I'm just hearing something different.
Yeah, maybe you need to just tune up something and check it.
Or maybe
no, but I'm just telling you, sometimes, like I said, and this is another thing that came up yesterday when it came to this topic. A lot of people, we get into these wars, and I was glad it was this old woman there, and she came in, and I was surprised because it was all kind of like maybe 30s to maybe 45, 50 age group there. Right. And this lady was clearly grandma, but she was in there, and she sat near the front. Okay. And so one of the girls got up there after some of our comments about the bedroom. And so she immediately got up there and she went on to saying, well, you know, I'm an independent woman. If I bring my toys in there, I mean, she went to this whole thing. Wow. And that old lady, you know what she did? She turned around, she said, and she was all out of line, but she told the truth. Right. She told her, she said, she said, see, this is the problem. She said, this is a platform where these men came to give up their time to talk to you about the questions you have for them. Right. She said, the problem is, we don't know us ladies when to just simply shut up. Don't come up here with all of that. The guys are trying to tell you how they feel. They're not asking you how you feel. Right. They're just telling you in response to your questions how we feel. But the first thing that people do is they always want to put on the gloves, and that's box. Right. And we don't. And the sparring, for me personally, I detest someone who wants to spar with me. Yeah. Because I'm the type of person, I want to be a team with you. Let's build together. Right. Let's do this. I'm not in no competition. I'm confident in who I am, what I do. And to be honest, I'm a builder. If my woman was lacking somewhere, I'm going to push her and tell her what she should do to go somewhere else, as I expect her to do to me. But nowadays, everything has turned into this competition. And I'm like, the goal is to blend. It's hard enough to blend people together. Because Rhonda has her world, I have my world. So now we got to see what we can fix to mix it. That's enough. So when you got that on top of that, and then the competitive aspect, and this is what I expect. If you can't do this in 6 months, then you can't buy a house. You don't need to be with me. I mean, it's too much pressure. Let's just deal with each other. Let's support each other, build, listen to each other, communicate, and then take it from there and go from there.
You don't know how to listen to each other.
Yeah.
We need to have a constructive dialogue.
Yeah.
In order to be able to build constructive relationships.
Correct.
But we are so used to fighting each other, we don't know how to listen to each other and really understand each other's perspective. And again, I think that plays a lot into, being sexually compatible with your partner. That if you're not willing to listen to what they have to say, you're never going to give them any pleasure. Correct. You're never going to.
And then that turns into a fight.
It's a total fight in the bedroom. It's the total deterioration of the relationship. Because now you shut your ears off to them.
You have to listen to understand and not listen to defend.
Absolutely, not listen to retort.
But most of us, honestly, it's like that's where the issue, because most people, you can't even really have a good discussion because people automatically are like,
To get
you
them
coming
to-
on me,
Yeah.
and it just
Right.
ruins the whole dialogue
Right.
because now you've taken this position that's unwarranted.
Yeah.
So it happens like that.
You can forget about sex.
Yvonne says,
Pretty much at that point.
Yvonne says some people are nice because it's who they are. She says, like, I'm nice to everyone. Okay, then she says so true. Pay attention to your instincts with people.
Very true.
When Maria says right on point, Natalie,
energy don't
awesome
lie.
point. Maria, how's everything going with let's see. How's everything going with Hallmark? We haven't seen too much. Anyway, anyway, you know Maria's cool. She's our resident. Anyway, so yeah,
Rightfully so, she'd be well.
so yeah,
Oh
so
my God.
I would just say for people, if we have to close out with something, if you have a person that's challenged behind the doors, as we keep behind the doors, whether it be a woman or a female or male, have the conversation first.
Yes.
See if they're open to suggestions,
Right.
training, so to speak. If the minute you ask them that and their body language is like, I ain't getting, you ain't gonna tell me nothing. Don't bring out no toys, nothing. Then you just know this ain't the person for you. And sometimes we need to just cut it off at the chase and don't drag it out and try to dance with somebody who has a slew foot.
Yeah.
And just let it go.
Stepping all on your feet.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And just go from there. But so here's the thing. You know, next week, guys, now, I have to get prepared. This is gonna be, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate mail after this one. But next week's, let me get this, come on. So next week's topic is, what do you want? What will it take? Because I said, I'm sorry, the tale of a stalker.
Stalker. Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because honestly,
Heavy.
because honestly, I'm gonna tell you, this is a serious thing.
Okay.
A lot of people do not know how to release forgiveness.
Wow.
And as a result, they not only do they can't release forgiveness, but they hold on to offenses, oughts, and they take them, you know, the way to take an offense is to slap it over your shoulder and push it. But people take it and they take it offensively, it goes to their self-esteem, and then they resent you for it. And as a result, they're like, oh, you're not going to do this to me. And don't get a person who says to you, I know you said you're sorry, but you did not make good on the promise. You told me this, and you are going to see this out.
Okay.
And as a result of that, you have no idea the stories I have.
I'm sure.
Oh,
Charles,
How are you
greatest
trying to
apology
stalk
is
this
saying,
I'm kind
Lord,
of
mercy.
lost as how you tying the stalking part of it. Piece to that.
what I'm saying is, this
They
is
don't
the
know how to
heart.
let go.
This is the heart of the stalker. They don't want to let go.
They don't know how to let
And
go.
they'll come at you with all they got from every angle that they got. They don't want to let go, and it's just like you don't know how many times I heard I'm gonna ruin you and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you what offends me about that. Because 9 times out of 10, that same person that gets emotional and says they're gonna ruin me, if I say, where you at? Out west. I'm coming to see you. Okay. And it's all forgiven.
You
So
feel
to me,
way.
how hypocritical is that? If you mean a person well, bid them well. Don't say you mean a person well, but then curse them because they're not with you.
Right.
That's selfish. And you have no right to stalk and destroy or attempt to destroy anyone's life.
Okay.
So, that's it. So we're gonna go with that next time.
And Charles, most of us don't deal with that extremity of a problem, but I'm sure you have stories to share.
Oh, we
nonetheless.
got
I know you ain't talking Natalie. We done heard the bass outside.
Listen.
Yeah, so
Whatever.
now you gonna talk
Never.
about me? I'm waiting for you
Oh,
outside.
never. I want you guys to know that this is a fictional place in his head that creates these stories about me.
You guys wait till the summertime.
Adam, you don't want me to get started. You do not want me to get started.
Look, y'all gonna catch Natalie out here in the streets riding a big one of them big Benz trucks with tinted windows, and soon they go to the light, you gonna see smoke coming out there. That's weed over there. And there's tinted windows.
My car's nice, y'all.
No. But anyway, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. This has been another good episode
This show was
of
too
Unique
short. We could talk about
Perspectives
it.
Love Talk Radio. If y'all want to continue, just let us know. We got to sign off at UBM. And also shout out to
But we don't want to know how many stalkers you have.
Right,
Yeah,
I think it's a personal
don't
deal.
ask for it.
well, listen, I think I tried to be independent throughout my history. I mean, I'm sorry, not independent, transparent, and say I have not been a perfect man by far. I have played for a long time.
Yes,
That's how I got so many stories, honestly. But the amazing part about it is, honestly, some of these calamities, I never ever saw them twisting to work for the good. I just saw them as things that just kind of like just blows to your self-esteem and things that you got to wear guilt and you just feel bad. But again, I personally go out into the fields. Whatever, don't be hating. I go out to the fields and I apologize. I mean, honestly, I ask for forgiveness, but I don't know what else to do.
Right.
After that, what do you want to do? I don't know. So that's it. So
let go and let God.
we go from there.
Let it go, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, guys,
We out?
we're signing on. We have Rhonda over here to my right. I have, let's see, wait a minute. We have Rough House Rhonda.
Pretty brown Natalie.
No.
I love that. I'm giving myself a name. Knock it off.
No, I got a name for you.
No. The beige monster.
Okay, we got those.
Attitude, Natitude.
No, no.
Attitude, attitude.
Adam.
Oh,
we
man,
have-
I don't know. That's too easy.
Adam.
I'm serious about that one.
Adam.
That was okay.
And again, Adam Ford, aka Goody Two Shoes.
Good
You know, yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Chocolate, what is your name?
Huh?
What is your name?
Sin.
hole.
Sin.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. No, I'm just playing. But no, anyway.
Lasciviousness.
No. Call me the free man. All right, so let's go. All right, guys. So we're signing off of UBM, and also remember Wednesday nights at 6 Eastern Standard Time. We're on the Star Radio. All right, take care, guys.
All right, guys, have a good evening. Bye-bye.
All right,
Y'all crazy.
we still live on there, John.
Y'all,
good.
cray up in
I
here.
don't know why mine started freezing.
Oh, did it freeze? I hope nobody didn't freeze. Did it freeze, guys, or were you guys looking at it? Did it freeze at
I
all?
think mine dropped one time, but that was it.
Did it freeze at all, guys? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, it's not that. Oh.
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Good evening, good show. Attitude, I like attitude.
I do. Good.
Oh, that's gone.
Like, where you come up with that one, attitude?
Wait a minute. Somebody said we not live on. Yeah, we are live on Facebook. Oh, that was at 8 o'clock. Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
because we didn't come on exactly 8, remember?
Right, we came a little after that.
Our time was off a little bit.
Okay.
She said, Maria said, are you going to pick on me again today,
I
Charles?
know. Yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
Like, get up off of me.
Well, let me get out of this. All right, let me get out of here. At 9 o'clock.
So, in business, right?
To the bottom right. Bottom right, that thing where it says in. Bottom right, that little button over there. The little button. Hit that. No, far right. Yeah. I'm gonna teach you how to do this.
Disconnect.
Me?
Yeah, you do this. You just do disconnect. And you do. Okay, that's it.
Alright.
Okay. They stop on there though. It's still going. Somebody's still going. Is it your? Okay, maybe they just stop. Oh, wait a minute. Is this? Wait a minute. Somebody's still going. It's you, Adam.
It ain't me, I'm disconnected, dude.
Hold on. Cause why is it showing? It's still. I'm kind of off of here.
Well, it's not me.
I'm off of here. Oh wow.
Oh, you talking about showing me how to do that?
Yeah. Let me just do this. Hold on.
Okay, I'm really disconnected now. I'm not even, the program is shut down. So.
Oh, I see. I had to stop it. I see what's happening. I see what's happening.
Oh yeah, you still live.
Yeah, I didn't stop
You
it.
still
I
live,
see what it
everybody?
is. I see what it is.
The video has ended.
Yeah.
The video has ended.
Now it's ended.
And I shared the post with
There
everybody.
we go. That was good.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
John
see.
was on
I
there.
saw. That's why I was gonna say John was
John
on
was
there.
on there.
Cause he was pretty quiet all week, so I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably passed on, you know. He passed.
Yeah.
Passed.
Mm. Alright, let's get out of here.
Alright. Good show, everybody. Good show, man.
Thanks, Adam.
Attitude.
Attitude.
I'ma own it.
She's like, okay, so that one. She's like, that one on boom boom. I'm not.
Y'all
She
not
said
on
what?
it.
She said what?
She not.
I'm not on the
Attitude.
boom
She
boom,
on
'cause that is just so not
boom
even
boom.
my
She
type
not. She
at
not.
all.
She not on the boom boom.
No, I ain't on that.
That
Yeah,
was
over there.
She just said nice table.
Who says it?
She said
Oh,
nice
look-
table.
oh,
But
so
then
we
she
shut-
just short table.
Crazy.
Please. Janice.
Thank you.
You will help. I try to use the things, you don't help.